News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
KVNU News Time is 4:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Roof Rescue. The Cache Suicide Prevention Coalition and United Way of Cache Valley is putting on a free community suicide training event on Thursday, January 27th at the Cache Event Center to discuss safe messaging around suicide topics. Chelsea Scheringer, health educator and suicide prevention coordinator for Bear River Health Department, said the event will help people use safe messaging when talking about suicide. She said that there are ways to talk about it without causing harm, and they want to protect the most vulnerable and promote healing. Speaking with people who have lived the experience is important. The Tri-County Area Agency is trying to attract middle-aged men to the event by offering an incentive. A 24-gun safe from Al's Sporting Goods as a prize to one participant. There are two different events planned at the Cache Event Center catered to different audiences. One on January 27th from noon to 1 p.m. for Cache business leaders, educators, counselors, professionals, and church leaders, or anybody that has an influence over a group of people are invited to attend, and a free lunch will be provided. And then that evening on the 27th from 6 to 7 p.m. for families and the general public, free crumble cookies will be provided. KVNU News Time is 4:06. KVNU weather for tonight. Partly cloudy this evening, then mostly cloudy. Hazy conditions, patchy fog after midnight, low near 20. And then partly cloudy tomorrow. Patchy fog in the morning, high temperature in the lower 30s. Partly sunny on Saturday, around 30 degrees. It's 32 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Adams Wealth Advisors. They put clients first under any circumstance. You'll receive peace of mind with Adams Wealth Advisors. Schedule a time with an advisor today. Call 752-1702 or visit adamswealthadvisors.com.
If you think it's expensive to hire a professional, just wait until you hire an amateur.
Why the heck is the roof leaking? Larry, you said you got it fixed.
I thought it was fixed, Donna. Everything was fine until it started raining.
Larry, that's the point of fixing the roof, is so we can actually live here when it's stormy outside.
This is David with Roof Rescue. Our experienced roofing team is tried and true and will fix your roof guaranteed. Visit roofrescueusa.com to schedule your free roof inspection. Roof Rescue, providing watertight peace of mind.
KVNU News Time is 4:08. The Cache County Judicial Nominating Commission has scheduled a public hearing to review applications for a Justice Court judge position that will serve Wellsville. The meeting will be held Tuesday, January 18th. The position will replace Judge Terry Moore, who resigned his position in May 2021. The commission will begin the meeting at 4 p.m. The meeting will be held online through web conference. Utah State Court spokesperson Tanya Mashburn said the early portion of the meeting is scheduled for public comment about issues facing the Utah judiciary and improvements to the system. Public comments will be accepted from 4 to 4:30. Following the public comment period, the meeting will be closed to allow commission members to review applications for the vacancy. And an investigation has found that Utah police made several unintentional mistakes when they stopped Gabby Petito and her boyfriend before she was killed in what became a high-profile missing person case. The independent report released on Wednesday examines a stop by police in Moab on August 12th. They allowed the couple to leave after requiring them to spend a night apart. Body camera video of a visibly upset Petito was widely viewed as the investigation unfolded and raised questions about whether a more robust police response could have prevented her death. KVNU News Time is 4:09. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
Breaking news and stimulating talk. KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
It's the winter weekend everyone loves, Bear Lake's Monster Winterfest. January 21st through the 23rd. Go to bearlake.org for details on events, plus hotel and lodging deals. Come up for a weekend of food and tons of fun as hundreds of people brave the icy cold waters of Bear Lake for the Monster Polar Plunge. There's a chili cook-off, cardboard boat regatta, fun run, and Cisco Disco fishing tournament. Go to bearlake.org for all the info and lodging specials. The Monster Winterfest, January 21st through the 23rd in Bear Lake.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Hey, it's me, the regular dad. I ask guys like you a few questions, a kind of parenting test. So here goes. What is this sound? Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it? That's the sound a young teenager makes when he's done something he regrets. Maybe he got caught up in peer pressure, tried a few drinks at a party, and the next morning, well, he makes this sound. Kind of a sad sound, isn't it? Hear the embarrassment, the reluctance, the pulling away. If you recognized it, then you know exactly what to do. Listen. It might take a long time. A drive together, or a walk that turns into a talk, and that turns into an arm around his shoulder that means you understand. That's when you can really talk, when he knows you understand. Then the both of you can figure out how not to make the same mistake again. I know it's tough. Keep at it. You're doing great.
This message brought to you by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cash Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have two guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Thursday, January 13th. I'm Jason Williams. Thank you for tuning into the show today. Bill Walter here in the studio. Coming up, we'll recap more bills unveiled today for the upcoming legislative session. Kicks off next Tuesday, and another probably 50, 60 bills were made public today. Give us an idea of where lawmakers are headed. Speaker of the House also released a very buzzword-filled PowerPoint on legislative priorities, what the top issues for lawmakers in the House, at least, are going to be during this session. Talk about all that in hour 2 of today's show. Right now, though, kicking off the show with our weekly episode of Arts and Entertainment with our good friend Charlie Schill, joining us here in the studio. Charlie writes for CashValleyDaily.com. You can read his work there each and every day. Once a week, though, he steps aside from the writing, joins us here in the studio for the talking, and we talk theater in Cache Valley. And Charlie, hello, welcome.
How you doing, Jason?
How's your week been?
Pretty good. Had an interesting experience last night.
Uh-oh. Looking for mug shots here.
They're doing a weekly jazz night.
Oh, really?
At the Cache Bar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The first one started last night.
Huh.
And I dropped in there and, not knowing what to expect.
That's interesting.
I like jazz, though.
Sure.
And it was surprisingly well attended.
Really?
Also surprisingly...
Man, what a niche audience.
Yeah.
In Cache Valley, especially.
You don't get jazz anywhere else in the valley.
No? I can't even think if you wanted to get out. That used to be a much more common thing, almost a themed event at nightclubs, bars, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's faded quite a bit. There used to be there was a place in Ogden that would have a blues night that I would try and get to just to see local artists play blues.
Where was that?
It was called Beatniks. It's gone now. It was on 25th Street.
Yeah,
and
that's where it would be in Ogden.
Yeah, it was, and it was fun to see these local artists, just how talented they were, and then occasionally they'd bring a big name in. But that's interesting. I didn't know there was a jazz night in Cache Valley.
What they, as I said, that was the first one. It's organized by the owner of the venue, Mark Lund, and he's got a guy named Kellen Gibbons, who normally performs with the orchestras that Jay Richards puts together for Music Theater West.
Wow.
And he was there playing guitar and ukulele, I think.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes.
That's interesting.
And he was a trio performing, a stand-up bass, and a guy from Utah State. I can't remember his name now.
That's
playing.
I've been having that problem all week.
Playing sax and come on, what else did he play? Well,
that's impressive.
Brass,
though.
anyway, and it was fun. It was a really good event, and it was well attended.
Interesting.
Lots of people in there. You could probably put, 200 people in the Cache Bar since it's been remodeled.
Pretty large venue. I mean, for downtown.
Yeah,
at least.
And the place was pretty well packed.
That's really cool.
And it was young people.
That is, I'm really intrigued by this because jazz is, like you said, it's a harder thing to find. It's fun. I'll be honest, I only enjoyed jazz live. I own some, and I've put it on before, and then I quickly take it off. But live, I've always kind of enjoyed it, and that seems, man, downtown Logan getting pretty highbrow.
Yeah, the nice thing is, you're sitting there, you're eating, you're drinking, and I'm sorry, but yes, drinking takes place in a bar, and the Cache Bar is the only full-service bar in Logan.
That's right.
Good food. Gee, it was nice to be able to hear yourself think while a band was playing in a bar.
Very cool.
Which is not the case with pop and rock usually.
Honestly, this is, and so they plan to do this
every
Wednesday night, a jazz night. That's very cool. I knew they did. I'd seen on their sign. I knew they did a traditional bar type things like karaoke night and things like that.
Yep.
But
and
jazz night is really unique.
It is, and it was very enjoyable. And I hope it lasts a long time.
That's very cool. I'm excited to see these things come to downtown because it is more. You wouldn't be as surprised maybe if you were walking downtown Denver or something like that and saw that there was a jazz night at some local bar or nightclub. But for downtown Logan, that's definitely a unique thing, and I think it's something that's been kind of lacking too. There are certain events, nightlife type events, that just hard to find in northern Utah in general. That there is, as you mentioned, a pretty big audience for. That's impressive.
And it's surprising too. My wife Debbie knows Mark Lunt through.
Mark's a fun guy.
Yeah, and
interestingly enough, we knew Mark here on the show because years ago he worked on the Cache Trail system a little bit. He advocated for a trail connection of some kind. That's how I first met him, and this guy never stops. He's always got some idea, some project that he's working on.
And the amazing thing, we talked to him one night at a restaurant. I don't remember where we were, and he talked about wanting to turn the old Gia's restaurant into a full service bar. And I thought, oh my God, this poor guy is going to beat his head against the wall forever.
Because a lot of folks had tried something there over the years.
Yeah. And
I remember it was a dance club for a little while. It was a wedding venue for a while.
it never worked for any of them.
None of them made it.
The layout was so strange. You had the restaurant on the north side of the building, and then there was a wall right down the middle of the building.
That's right.
And the other side was a banquet hall.
Yeah.
That looked more like a bowling alley. It was long and narrow.
Wooden floor and that's a good description of that. I thought the same thing when they said they were going to try this. I just thought, location-wise, this isn't going to work. And then, but if you see the crowds, it seems to be working. It seems to be drawing a crowd. And Jazz Night.
Mark took that wall out so that you've got a huge
really?
Main floor. There's a bar on the north side of the room, and there's a narrow balcony over the bar.
Oh wow!
So as I
That's
say,
nice.
And the building has always been deep, so you've got a lot of space in the back, and Mark has covered the place with tables and couches and lounge chairs and all that kind of stuff.
That's very cool.
It is. It's a very interesting venue.
I'm going to have to get out and check out Jazz Night, because that is jazz. Normally, USU had done some events. At least once a year they have a jazz ensemble event of some kind, and but to be able to get out and see this with a crowd of non-campus. We'll put it that way.
There were probably a good slice of USU students there. But it was, kind of an impromptu, very relaxed, laid-back event.
That is very cool.
And it was fun.
That's, something for people to maybe add to their... And you said the food's good. For those who don't drink, the food might be a draw as well.
Yeah.
That's... I'll have to check this out. Jazz Night in downtown Logan. Who would have thought? Charlie Schill, our guest here in the studio this hour, talking entertainment in Cache Valley, theater, arts, more. As you just heard, a Jazz Night, now a part of downtown's regular weekly lineup every Wednesday night at the Cache Bar. And we'll have more to talk about. Charlie had a chance to get out and see over the weekend The Choir of Man. And there is a lot coming, actually, as far as the theater lineup. So plenty to talk about this hour. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
This is Logan City Police Chief Gary Jensen. Scammers are continuing to target people in the Cache Valley. Fraudsters often threaten with arrest, withholding medical care for loved ones, or offer to sell or purchase items at discounted or inflated prices. Many of these scams often involve third-party gift cards or other money-exchanging services. If you receive an offer or are threatened like this with immediate punishment unless you comply, hang up and call the police to report it. Please do not become a victim.
Hey, this is Grace Gosted. I'm a singer-songwriter, and like many, I've been traumatized by years of bullying. You're ugly, you're stupid, you're gay, you're worthless. Bullying causes real harm and can result in severe long-term depression, anxiety, addiction, and even self-harm. I created the Black Box Project for anyone who has ever felt different for any reason. Go to theblackboxproject.org to help you take the first step to healing. You are not alone.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. A closer look at what's driving inflation and what kind of impact the government can make pushing and pulling various levers. Also, there are new questions about how we test for COVID-19 as the virus develops. For example, is it better to swab the nose or throat? And the age group at work experiencing the most success. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Charlie Schill with us this hour, talking theater, arts, and entertainment here in Cache Valley. We kicked off the hour talking about something new in downtown Logan, as Charlie mentioned, Jazz Night, now a part of the weekly lineup every Wednesday night at the Cash Bar in downtown Logan. And as Charlie mentioned, for those who don't drink, they have food, and Charlie said it was good. So get out and support something new and eclectic in downtown Logan. It's not something we have to worry about when it comes to theater, usually in downtown Logan. The eclectic nature of theater is a given, but having some more music options, I won't complain about that at all. Choir of Man. Speaking of drinking, well, we're on the topic, I guess.
Well, the amazing thing was, despite having Big Brother Utah looking over your shoulder and saying, no, you can't do what you really do.
We talked about this last week. In other productions of this in other areas, they actually
hand out beer,
pass out beer, invite people
audience.
On stage.
Yeah.
And none of that, I assume, at the Utah.
There was a little interaction with the audience. There's an outfit called Prodigy God, I can't talk. Brewing. That's going to be on Center Street. They're getting ready to put it in a brew pub, and they brewed up, instead of beer, root beer. And the Choir of Man, all 9 guys, handed out root beer in the audience.
Oh, really?
And the trick was, they had these enormous, well, they looked like paddles or oars from a ship. And they had drilled holes so that you could put the glasses of root beer in the flat extension of the oar, and they handed it off from on stage.
Really? That's
and then people passed the glasses
would be
back.
Really hard to do.
It would be really hard to do.
I'm trying to think if I could balance a glass on that. Of course, I guess they've done this a few hundred times at this point, right?
I doubt they've ever had to hand out root beer.
That's true. Not root beer, but this is... How long? Do you know how long this production has been going?
Since 2017.
Okay, so it's been a while.
Up to 2019, and then they got put out of business by COVID.
Okay.
But
so this is kind of like their big comeback tour in a way. Okay.
There's actually 2 different companies in the United States, one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast. This was the first performance by the West Coast company.
Oh, okay.
And they've also got a company in the UK, a company in Australia. There's one other. I guess that's it.
That's interesting. The theme of this intrigues me, especially right now. You know, when the last couple of years have been times of elevated isolation, at least for most people, and the. You know, being that we talk about politics here on the show most of the time, except for this kind of breath of fresh air every week here on Thursdays, there's so much anxiety out there, and people seem sometimes to be. And I realize this is just what you see through a lot of the news reporting, but people seem to be kind of in each other's faces. These reports of a higher count of citations for aggressive driving. Here in Utah that the UDOT reported last week. You look at all this and you kind of think, you kind of wonder if we're losing any sense of community and camaraderie, and that's what this is about, right? The Choir of Man. So that intrigues me. What was the response from the audience?
They were into it.
They loved it? Okay.
They loved it, yeah. They had a pretty good crowd. Angie Lever told me that they were better than half sold out.
Oh, wow.
So, that's the floor, the ground floor of the theater was pretty well packed. There wasn't much going on in the balconies, but it was all right. It was a funny atmosphere. You get your tickets, you go through the line, you wander down into the auditorium to see your seat, and the first thing you think to yourself is, oh, I'm late, because the whole cast is already on the stage, and they're monkeying around like nobody's business.
That's fun.
And after you check your watch and you realize, okay, I'm still 15 minutes early, those guys are just working out.
That's interesting. That also intrigues me, this idea of, because I read a review, before it played out last weekend, I read a review from another area where a critic was talking about that this is part of the show, this building a bit of a connection with the audience.
They're
making friends and exchanging names.
They're making the fourth wall vanish.
That's interesting. And yet it's still a production. There's a script. There's there's talent and acting involved.
But they're improvising a little too.
Are they?
And the MC is an Irishman. There's 2 mix in the cast. There's 6 Brits and 1 lonely American.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of thrown in as like the token American.
But now, normally I don't like Brits. I had some bad experiences with the British Army of the Rhine while I was in the military. But these are the kind of Brits that, after 1776, you'd let them stay.
Oh, yeah.
Salt of the earth people. And you could tell they were having a ball. And the whole audience got drawn into it.
Sure.
And, they were inviting you to sing along on the songs that you would recognize, the Pina Colada song. What else? There were a couple other that 500 miles thing that
God. I always want to call it the Benny and June theme song. That's when it got its revival kind of. What was that? I Would Walk. I know the lyrics.
Yeah.
You're kind of forced to know the lyrics by its popularity.
I'll play it here.
You've got it. That's maybe this isn't a fair question for people who might want to see it, although it's probably going to be hard for them to do so. But how does it end? How do you take something like this and then close it out? I mean, most dramatic productions have that third act with the, resolution of conflict and all the things necessary for. So how does something like this wrap up?
Well,
spoiler alert for anyone that
with an Irish folk song.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's fun.
Yeah.
So they just kind of sing their way out, and that is very cool.
It's the stage is really nicely set. It looks like the inside of an Irish pub. Or an English pub, I guess. But a little bit of special effects with lighting and things like that. But basically, it's 9 guys sharing a stage and demonstrating that, that it's a celebration of friendship and music and singing and dancing and drinking.
That is honestly just an interesting concept. I would love to be able to talk to them about why they came up with this, what it is they were trying to achieve with this, because this is something with a point.
Well, it was originally developed by a couple of producers, both English guys, and they said to themselves, they wanted to do something that ran counter to all of the things that are happening, particularly in social media. The internet has not brought people together. It has made people apart.
Sure.
And social media has not had any good effect on socialization. I mean, it draws people apart. And that was before COVID came along.
Sure.
So, basically they said, what do we, if you're going to make art, make it about something you know. And they knew about hanging out in bars and drinking and singing. So that's what they wrote about. And they discovered that there's a sense of community that is promoted by places like pubs, bars, restaurants.
Sure.
And they wanted to emphasize that, to say, this isn't something you should ignore. This is beneficial.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a sloppy drunk, that's not positive. But if being in a restaurant or a bar or a pub draws you to other people, your neighbors, that's a good thing.
Sure. That's and this is, we talked about this last week ahead of this show. This is something might be a bit more foreign to those of us here in Utah, but in a lot of places, Ireland, I know.
Sure.
A friend of mine from here in Utah actually moved to Ireland, and she commented on this the first year that she and her husband retired and moved to Ireland. It had been a dream of theirs. And she commented that though she doesn't drink, everything happens at the pub. So she said, when you're looking to go out and interact with the community, find out what's going on in your community, you go down to the pub because that's where everyone is. That's where everyone's talking. That's the water cooler of their little town. And Britain is a lot like that as well. The UK.
This show reminded me of the way neighborhoods used to be in the Bronx and Queens when I was a kid.
Sure.
There was a neighborhood bar. There was a butcher shop. There was a bakery. There was everything you needed right there within a couple blocks.
Sure.
It's the thing that city planners nowadays are saying, oh, we should go back to.
Yeah.
And, we killed that with supermarkets and Walmarts and,
Yeah.
and everybody driving everywhere.
It kind of takes it I don't know what the right word is, but something important's missing from that.
Yeah. My family never had a car until we moved to Buffalo when I was about 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't need one.
Oh, sure. It wasn't a necessary part of,
everything you needed. Well, I don't want to date myself, but I still remember the ice box. Not a refrigerator, an ice box. Man came on early in the morning, dropped off a block of ice that went into the bottom of your ice box. You went out and bought food, milk. Well, the milkman delivered milk.
Sure.
Everything went into the ice box, and it lasted about a day. You needed another jug of milk the next morning. You needed meat. You needed potatoes, little groceries, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. That is just fascinating stuff and exposure to a different way of living, I think, for most of us. That this is why I think it's almost important that this type of thing come through town. This type of a show, this type of an experience, because it gives you, you can just kind of generically chalk it up to culture, but it does give you something to think about, exposure to certain things. Choir of Man, by the way, if you missed the show, there are some really fun videos on YouTube of previous performances, and Charlie got out and saw it. Would you recommend it then if it comes back through? You'd recommend it to folks to go out and see?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's a great show. And, it kind of says, this is, as you said, this is what's missing in a society that's dominated by television, internet, social media.
Sure. That's, man. Sad I missed it. Almost didn't, and then talked myself out of it. I should have bought a ticket. 753-5868 if you'd like to join us. Charlie Schill here in the studio talking theater, arts, and entertainment here in Cache Valley. Plenty more to talk about. Stay with us. We'll be back right after the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 4:40. The news brought to you by Northern Steel Building. 2 teenagers are dead and a third is critically injured after a shooting on a sidewalk in West Valley City earlier today. Police say the shooting stemmed from a dispute between 2 groups of students associated with different schools. More than one person was taken into custody, but police did not immediately say how many. Hunter High School and 3 other schools were placed under shelter-in-place protocols because of the shooting, but those were later lifted. Their exterior doors were secured and no one was allowed on or off school campuses. The investigation also closed several roads in the area of Mountain View Corridor. A 47-year-old former funeral home owner has been ordered to pay back nearly $500,000 to customers that he illegally sold prepaid funeral trust accounts to. Lonnie K. Nyman has been convicted of stealing from more than 100 customers and using their money for his own purchases. Nyman participated in a virtual restitution hearing in First District Court Wednesday morning, appearing by phone from the Utah State Prison. He previously accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to a pattern of unlawful activity, unlawful dealing with property by fiduciary, and communications fraud, all second-degree felonies. Nyman sold contracts for pre-need funeral plans to at least 105 victims. Instead of placing the funds in trust accounts as required by law, the money was deposited into 2 bank accounts used for operating expenses. The funds were then used for personal expenses at fast food restaurants, sporting goods stores, as well as payments toward personal credit card balances. Nyman's father, Kent Nyman, is a co-defendant in the case. The 74-year-old Providence man was a co-owner of the business and is facing similar charges. A review of the Moab Police Department claims 2 of its officers made several unintentional mistakes in failing to cite Gabby Petito for domestic violence. The report, conducted by a captain with the Price Police Department and released Wednesday, stems from an August 12th incident in which officers questioned Petito and her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, about a potential assault. Moab police made unintentional mistakes in the incident, according to the review. Body cam video of police questioning the couple was shared across the world as the search for Petito continued. Many wonder if the final outcome would have been different if the officers had responded in a different manner. KVNU News Time is 4:43.
A building is just a building until it's your building. It's where you work, where you create, and where you store your valuable equipment. You take pride in your building, so make sure it's built right and built to last. Northern Steel Buildings will guide you from concept to construction. For your commercial, agricultural, or industrial steel building, visit northernsteelbuilding.com to see their quality work or call 435-677-7300. Northern Steel Buildings. Value from concept to construction.
KVNU weather for tonight, partly cloudy, then mostly cloudy. Haze this evening, patchy fog after midnight, low near 20. Partly cloudy tomorrow, some patchy fog in the morning. High temperature in the lower 30s. It's been to 34. It's 33 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Berenson Caldwell. When the bills from your accident pile up, it's time for you to consider professional legal advice. It's time for you to get the bear, Berenson Caldwell. Visit berensonlaw.com. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com. Let's check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
This is Cheryl bringing you the daily financial market report on behalf of Jeff Olson and Edward Jones. Major indexes paired early gains and turned negative, with the sell-off intensifying into the afternoon, which follows a turbulent start to the year. Technology is again under pressure, with the NASDAQ losing more than 2%. Investors are likely fearing that reports of 4 rate hikes in 2022 and growing Omicron cases will see a slowdown in GDP growth and weigh on high multiple tech companies. U.S. equities closed lower today. The Dow closed down 175 points at 36,115. The NASDAQ closed down 382 points at 14,807. The S&P 500 closed down 67 points at 4,659. In stocks of local interest, Nucor was down 0.2 to 112.72. Thermo Fisher was down 24.31 to 600.89. Wells Fargo was down 0.40 to 56.0. Walmart was up 2.03 to 145.47. Autoliv was up 1.32 to 106.84. Northrop Grumman was up 2.08 to 397.61. Amazon was down 79.86 to 3,224.28. This has been today's Financial Market Report, brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, member SIPC, and from financial advisor Jeff Olson, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice at 580 North Main in Logan. If you would like additional information, please contact our branch office at 435-787-8170. Daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
Beaver Mountain is open for the season. Lifts are open daily from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call 753-4822 for a daily ski report or check them out on the web at skithebeav.com for upcoming events, current weather, ticket, rental, and lesson information. Stop by the Beaver Mountain Logan office located at 1351 East 700 North to pre-purchase your lift tickets, get your ski and snowboard rentals, and check out their retail items. Come on up and ski the Beav.
Pristine wilderness can still be found in the West, where creeks run freely and historic apple trees still bear fruit. Maple Creek Ranch features breathtaking canyon views and opportunities for real estate development. 2.5-acre lots are now available with adjacent wilderness areas that provide endless riding and recreational possibilities. So find your piece of paradise just 35 minutes from Logan at Maple Creek Ranch. Schedule your appointment online at maplecreekranch.net.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Charlie Schill in the studio here talking theater, arts, and entertainment here in Cache Valley. Every Thursday at 4, Charlie joins us, but in between then and the next one, you can read Charlie's work each and every day at CacheValleyDaily.com. We've covered a lot of ground here. Jazz night at the Cache Bar every Wednesday night in Logan from last Wednesday going forward. The Choir of Man performance at the Eccles Theater on Saturday. Definitely one to watch for if it comes back through. Charlie's review here on the show. And what's next?
Well, something similar to the Cache Bar, continuing with the jazz night. Fridays, all through this month, started last Friday. The Antics Comedy Improv is performing at in the DeSante building, where the Festival Opera has their headquarters. There's a theater that they use for rehearsals way in the back of that building, and these improv people who are all locals. They've been performing for about a decade, and
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, again, that's something different.
That is, and that's every Friday night.
Every Friday night at 7:30.
Very nice.
And the DeSante building is at 59 South, 100 West.
That's right. That's very cool. I didn't know that happened either. I feel like I'm missing a lot of, I've always felt like we need a singular calendar for arts and entertainment. You know, the Visitors Bureau does a great calendar. We've got a great calendar at CacheValleyDaily.com. But there's always one or two things that just kind of slip through.
You know, and that's another trap. That's, not put an adjective in front of internet.
I think I knew where you were going, though.
I was about to. We've gotten lazy. I put it up on the internet. Everybody will see it.
Yeah.
Sure, they will.
Yeah.
So we will know.
This is, every political candidate that we've had here in the studio during an election year is almost everyone has said, well, in the studio here, we put this event up on Facebook. And they say it as if that's all. They put it on Facebook.
Don't have to do anything else.
If people don't know about it, it's their own damn fault. And I always want to say, first off, there are a lot of people not on Facebook. Second, even those that are on are relying on the algorithm to feed it to them. They're not seeking this stuff out. Like, maybe put it in a couple of places. That's my one criticism of the now the theater, the companies. I think they've learned it. They do a good job, I think, of self-promoting, making sure it's out there. But events in general, don't just put it on one calendar. Put it everywhere. I miss, this makes me old school, but I kind of miss, in downtown Logan, there used to be, it was on the side of a store. I don't remember what it was, whether it was a cafe or a retail store. But they had this big board outside, and anybody could put anything on there. And it was Cafe Ibis. That's where it was. It was covered in glass, but the glass wasn't locked, so you could just slide it. You could put anything up there. And that was one of the best places to find out about things like improv comedy nights or jazz nights at the Cash Bar, because someone somewhere would put up a flyer. And then social media came along and ruined it.
We all think anything that's digital is better than a piece of paper.
Yeah.
No, not true.
That is... I still think there's no better way to market your event than somewhere when someone's going to go into a cafe or a restaurant and then they're going to come back out and they're going to be standing there for a few minutes. Have it right there. Greatest promotion ever. Unless if you want to pay for the Facebook ads, you can maybe beat that. But just putting it up as a Facebook event doesn't do it like people think. But
okay, let's get off our soapbox.
Okay. It's hard for me.
Eccles Theater is going to do a double header on Wednesday, January 26th.
Oh, really?
The Plain White Tees will perform. They're old-timers. They've been around forever. And also a intro act called Brother.
Really?
Never heard of them, but I hear that they are like a Celtic tribal revival.
Really?
I mean, I haven't heard very much about acts that are using didgeridoos and
interesting.
bagpipes.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
Or horrible. One of the two. That's how it goes with bagpipes.
Whatever it is,
yeah,
it's going to be an experience.
Memorable to say the least. Yeah, bagpipes
are
extremes. They're either great or awful. That's interesting. I'm looking at some photos of them here at their website, brothermusic.com. And wow, they get pretty excited on stage, it looks like. Interesting. And that is when?
Wednesday, January 26th.
26th, okay. Very nice.
And also, another plug for the Cash venue, the Cash Bar. They're going to do a concert by a band called Royal Bliss.
Oh, really? That's
at
one
7
I've heard
p.m.
of.
on February 5th.
That is interesting. Now, I saw Royal Bliss at back when in-person film festivals happened in Park City, and they were really good. So,
cool.
Check it out. All right, one final break to get to here. You're always welcome to join us. You have an event or review, a comment or opinion on anything arts, entertainment, theater here in Cache Valley, 753-5868. More with our guest Charlie Schill here in the studio right after this.
Took my crashed-up Chevy to Mako. Look at it now.
After my accident, Mako fixed my BMW. Handled insurance, rental car, it was easy. That's why customer satisfaction is so high.
So choose Mako for collision. And if you need repairs, check out Mako now.
Do you have damage from the recent snowstorm? Mako Collision Repair and Auto Painting Centers can help. Mako guarantees the repairs and will get you back on the road fast. If you're paying for the repair yourself, Mako can save you up to 33% compared to other body shops and dealers. Bring your snow-damaged car to Mako today.
Hi, this is Drew Allen with Allen Mortuaries. Over the years, thousands of families have planned ahead with Allen Mortuaries. Planning ahead helps you make informed and thoughtful decisions. It also spares your family the stress of making these decisions under the pressure of time and strong emotions. Allen Mortuaries' secure pre-need trust plan can save you nearly 40% versus other plans. Keep it simple, safe, and secure. Go with the proven choice, Allen Mortuaries. Voted best funeral home in Cache Valley in northern Utah. Allen Mortuaries. Then, now, always.
At Wheatland Seed, we've supplied area farmers premium seed products for over 44 years. With higher fertilizer prices and drought conditions, 2022 will be challenging. To lower your input costs during Wheatland's preseason sale, all oats, barley, cover crops, and alfalfa will be priced below last year's prices. For details, call us today or visit our website at wheatlandseed.com. That's wheatlandseed.com.
The best high school basketball in the state is being played in northern Utah, and every Region 11 high school basketball team is broadcast on local radio and now video streaming on CacheValleyDaily.com. All the games are covered on air and online with a dedicated broadcast crew for each school. Listen or watch the exciting action of every game, and after the game is over, go back and watch it again. All the details are available right now on CacheValleyDaily.com. High school hoops, the biggest games of the week.
When I wake up, that's the song. Welcome back to For the People. Charlie Schill here in the studio talking arts and entertainment in Cache Valley. And we touch on this every week inadvertently or on purpose, but as you can see, there is always plenty going on. We'd mentioned that this is a bit of a lull as far as theaters go, but that doesn't last very long.
Nope.
And I'm having the hardest time not jumping ahead to Beauty and the Beast, but I've got to wait till March for that.
Well, you're going to jump ahead to 2 performances of Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, really?
Yep.
They added another.
Music Theater West is going to do it.
Oh.
And our boys at Pickleville are going to do it.
Really?
Yes.
That was the announcement, huh?
No, well, they haven't gone.
Not yet.
They haven't given you the full treatment. I was talking to T.J. Davis the other day.
That's going to be good.
And he mentioned that they're going to do. That's going to be another challenging way.
Yeah.
How do you do Beauty and the Beast
on a shoestring budget and a tiny stage? That is going to be, yeah. I'm excited about that. Beauty and the Beast, I don't know why, it's one of the few of the Disney-fied stories that it's fun to see. It's really fun to see as a theatrical production. And Pickleville, huh? That's going to be interesting.
What I want to see is one of those, somebody decide to do The Lion King.
That would be it. I would like to see that on a smaller budget.
Have you seen the video clips on YouTube?
Oh yeah,
of the Broadway show.
Oh yeah, the big,
the puppets,
the giraffe, and the yeah. See him do that at Pickleville.
No, I don't think so.
Not enough room on that stage.
The Davis clan are pretty ambitious, but I don't think they're going to try.
Not quite that ambitious. I remember there was a joke about them doing a Pickleville production of Les Mis, because that's one of the largest productions cast-wise ever, right?
Yes.
And there would always be
with
this
6
joke
people.
about how they were going to try and do that story with 6 people, elbow to elbow on that stage. And yeah.
I'd like to see that.
That's exciting news, though. Pickleville's going to be one to watch, for sure.
They are, definitely.
Charlie, always a pleasure to have you here in the studio. I can't wait to see the 2022 lineup really start to get into play and take shape. I've linked to, by the way, for listeners, we had a complaint after last week's show that I wasn't doing this, so I've linked to every conceivable place you could get tickets to anything on our Facebook page. CashArts.org is a great kind of one-stop shop spot for most things, but there are others. I've linked to them on the Facebook page. You can also watch for Charlie's reviews and more at CashValleyDaily.com each and every day and week here. We'll be back with Hour 2. Take a look at what the legislature